Welcome to Ninon Speaks, and actually we're changing the show a little bit. We're going to Ninon Live. We changed the show up for, we always have to have new inventions. Change of minds are always good, and it's always good to be able to change, I believe. We have an incredible young lady with us. We've had her actually on before, but on a different program. She's actually in London, and of course, we all know it's a little later there than it is in Vegas because I'm in Vegas, so it's in the sort of the beginning of the evening. Her is the end of the evening. Actually, it's in the middle of the morning. I think it's 2 o'clock. Remy, how are you?
It is. I'm very well, thank you very much.
You're doing absolutely
It's an honor to be here again and to get to speak to you in the middle of my night.
well. I hope you had a good evening. Did you go to sleep or did you go out?
I had a very late dinner event and then I came home and I slept. I woke up at 1 a.m. just to be able to talk to you.
How wonderful. Now, Remy has a different approach on life, and I was reading some of these, how you have, you're qualified in thought field therapy. That is something kind of a new way of putting it out there. But this is your way, and everybody has a different way of teaching how we can fulfill our lives, how can we experience different things in our life, and not to be afraid to touch on something we haven't done. And I think you're sort of helping people to sort of achieve this goal of trying to be yourself and trying to sort of get as much out of yourself as possible and not worry about everybody else. And we seem to worry about most people instead of worrying about ourselves. So how do we get into ourselves to start with?
How do we get into ourselves?
Yes.
What you mentioned thought field therapy, but that's just one of the 17 different modalities I trained in. But also an awareness, and what I've learned, I guess, life experiences and my knowing taught me, this is a world, it's diverting from what I've learned in TFT to this is a world of karma and illusion. This is transitory life. We all know that. And there are two things happening in this world of karma and illusion. I call it there's always an event and state of mind. There's a thought and an event. It's the state of mind that created us with all the experiences that we are going to. So these two things, you ask me how do we get into ourselves. I think when we become aware of our state of mind, that is the objective.
And we're not aware of that at all times. And you touched on karma, and everybody says, well, that's karma, and that's karma. Do people really, the average person out there, do they really understand what karma is? I mean, you and I know it probably very well, but do most people know what karma really is?
I cannot speak for anybody else, but I guess everybody views things based on their experience and their perception. Everything.
Yes.
Your life is a mirror, literally, of your state of mind, of your perceptions, of your thoughts, you are a vibration that is based on your thoughts, emotions, the thoughts that come first. Again, state of mind, I go back to. So, karma, it's not just what you've given, you get back. No. To me, it's mostly what came out of your state of mind and what you have now, knowing you. It's it's not a forced thing. It is something
No.
you knowingly choose to go through the lessons that you have to go through. So karma is anyway. You go ahead.
Kind of more of a natural thing coming out of you, more than a planned thing. When say people come in and say, "Well, you've got great karma," you look at them and think, "Okay, well, what exactly do they mean about? They can't see within me. They can only perceive what comes out of me."
That's their perception. I would never say to or think that, oh, somebody has a great karma or somebody doesn't. No. Even though it is, but that's just one of the laws of universe. And to me, that'll be very limiting to just talk about that when there's a lot of other things coming. But it's the mind of the person I'm more concerned about, that it's the mind of the person that created them, and it's the mind of the person that is making them go through every experience that they're having. And that mind needs to be aware.
Do you think we touch on enough, and I'm talking about the average person out there, we don't really touch on what we really do have within ourselves. Are we afraid? And I know you do a lot of training in self-help training, and self-help is helping somebody, to sort of use whatever they have as much as they possibly can. We have so much within ourselves.
All of us are, well, we are limitless being, infinite in capacity, infinite. Always have been, always will be. But when the mind separated and saw this perception, it has a tiniest, whatever we see is very small, limited. So, to me, I look at each and every person, the actual potential of the person is huge, huge. I know it when I'm looking at them and they could be not well. But that's because if I'm looking at somebody's Akashic records or doing soul clearing, I see the whole pattern of the mind that created them. And it is so much bigger than they can be aware at that moment talking to me. They could have been in different dimensions, had different experiences that they're not aware of, they've forgotten. So I think I learned from all that in the last 10 years that we are beyond belief, infinitely
And we
capable.
don't think of it that way, do we?
Sorry?
We don't think of it that way, that we're beyond belief. We seem
Yes.
limits on ourselves. We seem to think, we say a lot, oh, I can't do that. Why can't
I
I?
never say that. I'm sorry, Nanon. I don't say that.
I don't think you can't not do anything. I think it's possible. The possibilities out there, and to try and do everything that comes in your mind. Go ahead and just do it. And if you don't do it right, it doesn't. It's not a mistake. It's nothing bad. It's just you can either continue and improving on it if you want to, or try another way, or whatever the case may be. Why do we always put our limits on ourselves? Why
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. You know what? If I could tell one single thing to everybody is to correct the state of mind, you have to be very aware, very, very. You can't be aware of all your deep subconscious thoughts, beliefs. You can't be. You can't be aware of all the programming you've had since your creation. You can't be. But at least the least you can do for yourself is choose the words wisely. As you rightly said, saying something negative is not in my book anymore at all. Because the more I worked with people, the more I've seen them, the more I've learned that what I see in them is different than what they see in themselves. So that's been such a
wouldn't that be so of what we see in people and what they see in themselves? Is two different, because that's not really a reflection, though it's my reflection to you, but I don't see it. Sometimes we miss out of our potential or who we are, and it's always this negative thing, no, I can't do that. I'm not that way, you're not that way. Why does that make you and I so different? Why are we so much more open out there as of wanting to try, wanting to succeed, but not being afraid of failing to improve ourselves?
yes. I think when you said that, what I've noticed in people is we all took this life, transitory, transient, for the lessons we need to learn, which are very individual to us. And in those lessons, there will be quite a few of us that self-sabotage. A lot of us, most of us do it from time to time for different reasons. For some people who could be very wealthy, they'll self-sabotage in their personal life for something or the other. Or, somebody who is struggling financially could be happy in personal life. There is a self-sabotage going on in different levels. Um, for me, it's a combination. When I look at a person, I see the state of mind, which reflects every single thing that they have brought in this life, the soul lessons to learn, the journey that they have taken, a lot of it. Of course, you're not given every single information, but the most pertinent one. Um, Journey that they have taken, the blocks that they have, what they are carrying at the moment, how to remove them. And one thing I learned, all this I learned, nobody taught me, by looking at people as I was working with, people for different reasons, just removing their blocks, helping them heal from illnesses or any other personal trauma or situation. Always, whether it's children, whether it's newborn, even many of them, and even in newborn, you can see that they have brought certain lessons to learn, even in newborn, because those energies. Let's say I made a, I did a reading of destiny of a newborn, soul destiny that remains sort of the same. It doesn't change very much. Do we have the potential to change it? Yes, but it doesn't change. So if I made that, and I am always surprised that the person for the next 20, 30, 40 years will be going through every energy that they brought in this life. Let's say they brought the energy of low self-esteem. They will be learning lessons that will teach them to develop a sense of self-esteem, a sense that they are genuinely powerful creators, co-creators, they genuinely have the potential, but they won't realize why they're getting those lessons. They'll just have to learn them. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do. Like you come up with something very interesting, which I never thought I would never even ask anybody this, but I've got to ask you because I find you so sort of well reversed on what we're talking about. Talk about a newborn. Now, when you have a newborn, and you've got a mum and you've got a dad, or you've got two people bringing this person up, they're adopted, so you've got two people bringing this person, I mean, you've got a person bringing this child up. How do you get enough into that child of knowledge that you feel is going to help them through their life, more than just feeding them hi sweetheart and talking to them in baby talk? Because I don't believe in baby talk to a baby. I've never believed in that. I've always believed to talk to, and this is a person just because it's a day old doesn't mean to say it's a baby. You could still talk to that person reasonably. Is it how you bring these children up and how you actually put stuff into them as of an intelligent mind, rather than treating them as a baby and then and us turning around and saying, well, they don't understand or they don't know. They do understand, don't they?
They understand far too much more than they can verbalize, because I think everyone who understands, everyone knows that the children, newborn even, you just have to look at their eyes. Yes, they're in a new body, which is new to them, and they're adjusting to that. You can see that in a newborn's eyes. You can see that as they're growing up. They are learning to be in the body, experiencing every single thing that the body gives them, along with their soul lessons, of course. That's why they chose the environment they chose to be born. Yet they are infinitely much more aware. They're aware of different vibrations. They're aware, most children are very, very psychic. Very, of course. Yeah.
But it's because it's always really bothered me. Is I always think that as adults we don't really give enough to a baby as of treating it like a baby, and just because it is a baby, we sort of don't teach it that much, and we don't acknowledge it as being really a person. It's a
Mm.
person.
I understand that. Yeah.
It's sort of, so let me get a little bit into why did you take on what you're doing right now? I mean, we can go through to you as a baby, and you grew up and you did all lots of different things, and then you went into this world of help and people.
I I don't think, yes. Why did I go into this? I don't think anyone in the family could have. Well, everyone in the family knew as I was growing up that I was extremely aware child, extremely, extremely, not just psychic, but I was aware. I had always been aware. I had an innate knowing. Couldn't express it, even at 2, 3 in kindergarten. I couldn't. Uh, but I remember getting told off all the time from parents, family, friends, even at 4, 5, 6 for my knowing, because it was a very traditional, religious, orthodox upbringing. So anyway, my knowing remained the same, and I believe you do who you are, what you are. I couldn't be
At
a
a
rock
very young,
scientist.
at a very young age, you seem to establish as new person, you and me, and I think we all establish a certain place in our lives when we're born and who we are, where we're going. But I just think for the parents to recognize your personality, who you were, did they encourage you and help you on the path you wanted to go on, or did they keep saying, well, no, no, because parents can do funny things to young people.
No, my all of them had they knew I had an innate knowing because I was speaking up about things that were very, very radical, even at the age of 4, 5, 6 onwards. So when you're speaking and you're a little girl in a family where you should be seen but not sort of heard talking about something so grand topics, so I wasn't encouraged in that, but because they thought everything that comes out of her mouth is true, so let's ask her these things.
So
So
you were actually in your element.
that used what some people did, aunties. My mother doesn't really care about that. She never asks anyone, so she doesn't get impressed at all ever. But over the years, what she's seen is that fundamentally what I said even when I was 3, 4 to what I, you know, now say it was very radical. I chose to be born in a very ultra orthodox, very traditional religious family. So to be telling them at the age of 4 that you don't have to do this, God doesn't tell you to, this is not it.
What religion
was
were you born into?
My parents are Sikh. Well, yes.
Oh, how wonderful. So this is really so living in London is opened up a whole sort of new arena for you. Would that be correct? Of seeing
Living in London?
English are? Well, you live in London, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
But so you're surrounded by sort of English people. What difference do you see with
No, but I grew up in North America as well, and I lived in Japan. Yes, in
so you're very
Libya.
international.
Yes, I lived in different countries. I lived in
So,
different.
have you, through the years, adapted what you know and what you do to the people in that country, or are most people in all different countries put together kind of the same?
Ninon, you've asked a question that's so dear to my heart because I have, ever since I remember, opened my eyes, I have found no difference in anyone. It's people. People see it, or maybe yes, they may speak a different language. I may not understand it. I don't see the difference. It's like telling me I don't see genders, and anyone who knows me would agree with that. So for me, again, what I see in people is different than what they see in me. I
It's
wouldn't.
say that because I say to many people, I said we have to understand we have all these problems, these issue problems, these religious problems. And I said, how can we in this day and age have all that. We are all the same. We are all born the same. We all come out with one breath. However, we all leave with one breath. However, whichever way, whether it's through illness or anything, it's still one breath. One breath, you're gone. You're alive.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got female and male. We all take on different things, whatever. But we are all basically the same. And yet we have so many problems in this world. But we have so many problems with ourselves of understanding this one person. That's become so complicated.
You know what? If and I used to say this to my parents. So after you're gone, you think you're going to think you're sick? Didn't sit well. As a child, I knew that, but then I knew that at 2, 3, but I could only say it, at 4, 5, 6 onwards, and then I thought, oh,
But you
many said it for 20 years. Sorry?
never afraid of speaking out. You had this kind of thing within you that you would speak out and better.
No, I had to, and now I realize why I had to.
Why did you have to?
Yes, why? Because this was one of the most toughest families on the planet. So if you can cope with such a tough family, you can cope with.
That is, I think, all young people think their mothers and fathers and families. We all think we come from a very complicated family, and we can't wait to grow up, and we can't wait to leave, and then later on, we can't wait to get back together with them and be nice. But we all seem to go through this sort of this thing. But I've noticed that you deal a lot with. I've got written down as soul clearing. What is soul clearing? What would a soul clearing be?
That's, I guess, for the lack of better words, that's used by many people these days. They do different type of clearings. Soul is, to me, your consciousness. So I could call it consciousness clearing, where it sounds very long-winded. So soul clearing. So your consciousness that you are, not the body, not at all, but the consciousness that contains all your astral, etheric body, energy body, spiritual, mental, emotional, then the physical body. Lastly, of course, I look at organs and glands when I'm clearing and other things, your lymphatic system, digestive system, later on for food allergies and removing the allergies. But it starts at the first is your energy bodies, which is a combination of so much more. Your energy field can be as expanded or as close to your physical body as you feel like. So all your information, most of it, I'm not going to say all the information, but most of the information is in the energy field. Let's say it's around my body. So soul clearing is consciousness clearing. But at that moment when I'm having a session, I wouldn't know what's going to come up at all. I just start. If somebody has a physical issue, we'll deal with it later on. But first I go by what, if I have the permission to clear the soul, I always ask. I communicate to the soul, to the consciousness directly, whether they are present for the session or not, or if it's a child, or if it's an animal even, or if it's somebody who's very, very ill and cannot be there, and somebody else is, doing the session or listening to the session for them. So I communicate to the soul and ask the permission. After that, whatever the soul wants me to look at that is pertinent starts coming up, and I have no idea what will come up. I never do, which is the best way. And this is what I've learned, that whatever comes up is so pertinent for that soul. And normally there are lots and lots and lots of blocks that I'm shown, more than I can even say at the moment. Normally it's pages long if they've never had it done. So there are blocks on different layers that keep coming up for various reasons. And then if somebody has...
Is that just by the words they use and the terminologies and the things they start to come out with and how they say it and what they say?
Sorry?
Is that with the terminologies they come up with, when you're sort of doing the soul clearing and you're helping them to get into a place where they're trying to get rid of something and bring everything else out. But they're trying to clean themselves and clear their minds and be able to do things better than I assume than what they think they're doing them. So is it how they act? Is it their body movement? Is it what they say? Is it how they say it to you? Is it their reaction?
None of it. None of it. You mean the person? I don't see people face to face anymore. I used to, but they don't have to be there. I don't need to ever meet them. I don't have to, know them. So I don't know physically what they are doing.
So is it a reflection of the voice?
No, not at all, not at all. I told you, for a newborn, let's say I'm clearing, for somebody who's very ill, who can't get up, let's say with ME, they've had it for 20 years and they're bedridden and they've lost their will. So they cannot even speak for themselves, and that person's family member is telling me to help them. I don't need to ever see their picture even. I just need to have their date of birth, their mother's name. That is sufficient. So it's nothing to do with their voice. When you speak, what you're talking is the physical body. When you ask the soul, your consciousness that is experiencing through that physical body, that consciousness knows so much more than the physical body. So I communicate to that consciousness, not the physical body. I don't need to ever hear their voice. I don't need to.
What about phobias and fears? Same thing?
Phobias, fears are again many, many, many blocks on different levels. I again cannot say which level, but they are definitely blocks, 100%. They are definitely there for some reason. And again, I don't need to communicate to the person physically. I just need to look at where it's coming from. The information that is given through the soul, the consciousness. It could be through Akashic records. Akashic records are, as the Sanskrit term, Akash means the sky, or so it's the records that are not literally written in sky, but in that field. Everything is energy field. Everything. You, me, every single thing. There is nothing else in this cosmos besides energy. So energy that is vibrating at different rates. Anyway, sorry, I digressed.
You didn't know, because I think our audience likes it. It's like, how would you cure somebody who has fear of flying? Say well, how would you don't meet them, you don't see them, nothing.
No. Okay, I could clear them with, help them with TFT. And TFT, sometimes, if they only have that one thing, sometimes people have multiple issues. So if there's fear of phobia of flying, it can be cleared in few minutes. I've cleared people's fear of driving. Fear of flying I haven't. Fear of heights I have, quite a few. Fear of swans I have, because, living by River Thames, I met quite a few children who were very scared. They were attacked by swans when they were feeding them. So, and quite a few other phobias. So TFT can help. Sometimes it takes...
TFT is? What does that mean, TFT?
TFT is thought field therapy that Dr. Roger Callahan started. That's where EFT came from, emotional freedom technique. But thought field therapy can help very quickly. So I don't need to do soul clearing. It depends. It depends what issue a person is wanting, help with. If it's just one issue, I like to do everything and see the results immediately. So if it's soul clearing, I recommend that everyone needs to have that. Everyone. Firstly, for one important reason, for me at least, that they get to be aware of their soul lessons. If, people are going through, this is what I felt. If this is what my guides and other higher powers above said, being aware really would make so much shift in people, just being aware of what lessons they came here to learn. So, sorry, going back to fear of flying, that can be, I have removed many, many phobias in half an hour, in one session, literally. Um, but if there is multiple issues or if somebody wants deeper work, I would recommend clearing because you become instantly aware of the energies you brought in this life, the energies, the positive and negative energies you brought, because we both, all of us brought positive as well as negative, our strengths and weaknesses. And all your experiences are based on those, all of them.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out that for our audience, so that the people that are listening to what we're talking about and how it's like you do coaching, you do a lot of stuff out there, and what you seem to be doing is bringing somebody to become very human and to take all their fears away and to live a life of fulfillment, and which is I think is what we all want. And we're all struggling for that. The trouble is some of us struggle more than others. Do you find that if there's a problem with a family, when there's a problem with one person in the family, there's usually other problems in that family that have created these problems?
Do I find that if there's a problem in a family
Yes, like
that
if there's one person you kind of deal with, and then all of a sudden you find a sister, and then you find the mother's got a problem, then you kind of find why these people have these problems because they're created through one family. Would that be so?
um, okay, my way of looking at things is very different. I look at, that's why I said I don't see gender, I don't see race, I don't see difference. I see energies. I always have.
You just
Always.
energy.
I see, I cannot speak for somebody else. I see energies, energies that are acting what they are doing through the body in a way. So energies that are there acting a certain way based on their thoughts, their emotions, of course, but their thoughts, again, back to their state of mind. It's
Yes.
the state of mind that created the thoughts. So is that going to affect other family members or anyone else living with them? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and obviously, to me, if they are interacting in a certain way, that means they've all chosen to be there at that time to learn something from it. All of them. I cannot say what their individual soul lessons are, but they are there.
And the reason I brought that up was because, I came from a family, mum and dad, with 5 kids. And I was one of those, I probably call myself the black sheep of the family, but not really. I just had a mind of my own, similar to what you have. I saw things. I can actually see pictures. I can actually see things that are going to happen. I can actually see how to work it and how to put it together. People say to me, well, how do you know? And I look like, well, I thought everybody knew this.
Mm.
But not everybody knows that. So I was able with my family, I'm not going to say to escape, but if I did, I escaped. I
Mm.
actually packed my little bag up and I left because I wanted to do what I wanted to do, which I did, and unfortunately, touch wood, I was very successful. But then I never had any doubt that I wouldn't be.
That's the state of mind you had. So it's your state of mind that enabled you to have the experiences you had. As I said, there's two things in this world always happening. Not the reality, but this transitory world that we are in at this time, this fourth dimension world. Um, this world, it is events and your state of mind. So the events are based on your state of mind.
So if you can get your state of mind, but if you don't know what a state of mind should be, hypothetically, you just don't know if you're so used to something else. How do we get hold of somebody like you, or how do we get into a place where we can change it to actually have a state of mind we think we want, or we're not quite sure? How do we start that? How do we get out there? How do we escape?
I love teaching, telling people these things. So um, it's very, to me, it can be. as detailed as you want to be. Let's start with you as a vibration. Firstly, well, you have soul lessons to learn. You can, I don't know how you'll find somebody like me. I'm here. So, soul lessons,
How do people
I,
do something like you? Yes, I can give you an email and I can do a lot of stuff for you, which we're going to do anyway. But
so, soul lessons, I would say people should become aware of them, definitely, because that is important. Awareness of them starts making a huge shift in their life, in their perceptions, in their experiences, and the clearing as well. It does. It always does. I've never seen it not make a shift. Okay, that's one thing. That's a bigger, detailed picture. For day to day, without knowing the soul lessons, they are still running on autopilot. But I would say become very aware of what your thoughts are. Become very, and because, we have 60,000 thoughts a day, at least. So, in that, all those thoughts are not your own. Sometimes it's other people's thoughts, other people's energies. You're thinking about other people's situations, and then automatically energies gravitate towards you. Always happens. Um, so I would really have to say become aware of your thoughts, what they are. That's why mindfulness comes into being. But I've seen people I've given many tools to, as I really enjoy giving tools to people. They're very individual. There could be certain exercises I do. They're not written anywhere. They just come up through powers above, and that's how I've learned.
a couple of
So
exercises that you think would be very beneficial to whoever's watching at them.
I would say everybody should center themselves throughout the day, not just once. It's not something you do once. So you center yourself and always, always ask for assistance, guidance, protection, always. Because the little you, this 1% you, is not connected to that 99%. And that 99%, if you ask the assistance of that infinite field you want to call God, so if you ask the assistance, you ask the guidance, you get the help from other dimensions. And you must do that, whether it is to center yourself, whether it is to ask for. But centering, very, very important.
Centering yourself means to actually sit and not have anybody else in the room, but to actually sort of kind of talk to yourself or talk to God or
No.
what
No,
would you
that's just first step. I would say to everybody, just ask that I call upon this to assist me, to help. Then you center yourself. See, everybody I have dealt with, all my clients, I do give them these tools, but they are individual based on what I see in their energy. Um, I would say one should. Do you want me to give you an example of
of
one of
course,
the?
absolutely, I would love you to give me an example. Are you kidding?
Would you do this? Okay, I've never done this exercise with
Let's do it.
anyone
Let's,
uh, who's not a client and but okay, would you be able to do an exercise? I don't know how much
I
time
don't know, you
you
just
have.
tell me. I'll ask me what I should do and then see what happens.
No, because you'll have to go through it and then see how you feel. It's a process. Do we have time?
I don't know if we have time because I have to stay I have to stay where I am. I can't go anywhere. I have to do it right there.
Correct. So
But
just there.
this hair is fine.
Do we have 5, 6, 8 minutes?
Yes, we do. We have
Okay.
as long as
All
time.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, audience out there, hey, hang in there and watch what goes on.
So center yourself. I don't agree with, when people have written and talked about that you ground yourself into earth. I don't agree. You ground yourself into Mother Earth, who's living energy, because Mother Earth is going through plenty and has. So you ground yourself in your own energy and to the other 99% of you. To me, that's what I have learned, and I think that works much more better
Okay, so
because Earth's energy is mixed. So this is one way. There are dozens of exercises that are not written anywhere, I could tell you, but this is simple, very easy to do, and very effective. Very effective. So do you want to do it?
of course I do.
Okay. Then you have to close your eyes throughout the exercise.
That's okay. So audience, eyes are closed. Okay.
Okay, now would you lift both your hands above your head, 2 feet? And I'll see your energy while you're doing it.
Is that right?
And with your eyes closed, just visualize that you're full of, you are pulsating particles, the atoms. I always see atoms around, always have, but in the air, in people, around people. So you are that pulsating atoms, yes? And there are some, it's not all bright, shiny. There are some that are gray, there are some that are dark color. So with your hands there, just wave your hands as if you are playing a piano, let's say. Sometimes it is just a swoosh, but with you, I feel more drawn to, you can feel energy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So just as if you are playing a piano, and as you're doing it, some of the particles that are dark are becoming golden. It's very simple.
Yes, I see red and gold.
Okay, perfect. So they are becoming golden. There's some of the particles that were dark. Just it's visualization, as all meditation is. All of the meditations start with visualization. And this is actually turning your energy lighter, brighter. So, and then you move your hands in front of your forehead, back of your head. Exactly, like that. And again, use your fingers to move those particles into golden, bright light. And when you feel you've done it, the secret to this exercise is you must get into the feeling of, you know, that they have become golden.
Wow, golden is, oh, it's,
Excellent. And then your ears, both sides. Just visualize that it's all golden. And your throat, front and back as well. Yes, but slower than this. So as you move your hands very, very slowly, you can feel them. Yes, your shoulders. But as you move your hands, slower than this, I say, because when you do it faster, it's it needs to be a little bit more slower so that they actually shift. Your arms, would you want to go through the whole exercise? Because I'll tell you, you have to do this the whole. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes, but what I've noticed in people is if I'm teaching them this very simple one. It's much more simpler than, putting roots out into the earth and grounding yourself. No, this does it all. It centers you, it balances you, protects you. What It's the intention again. But if they're done in a hurry,
I have
it's
to open my eyes now because of a show on. But that, I have to tell you that, and it's hard for me to get into it because I'm still talking to you and knowing what I'm preoccupied with what I'm trying to do. At the same
yes,
time,
yes.
I'm trying to vacate my mind from what I'm doing, which is a little bit hard. But at the same
Yes.
time, I can still feel it. But I would love to do. I'm going to do that by
Would
myself.
you do it by yourself after you, but you'll have to do all the way to your feet and then visualize a light opening above your head and pouring completely, saturating you with golden light and then turn that eye off.
Talk about
Uh,
my. Tell you something. When I've gone to sleep, sometimes at night, when I've got all the lights off and everything's fine, I close my eyes and all of a sudden I open. Actually, when I close my eyes, I see this light. Everything's so light. And I'm like thinking, what's going on? But then it feels so good that I know it's something that's okay. Because it's light and it's beautiful and it's like sort of, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's like a freedom.
mm.
And it's a beautiful freedom. So people could actually do this. What I just did, they could actually do this, but you actually
They can, but okay. I always tell people if any of the tools I've given them, any of the exercise, this is just one of them, and this is highly effective. If people think that, oh, this is not effective, it doesn't work, that's incorrect. Um, it Okay. If they haven't felt anything like lighter, dizzy, even goosebumps, or
lightheaded.
they could feel 30, 40, 50 different things, or just one of those 50 different things, or just 5 or 10 of them. I feel a lot of it when I'm doing it. I see a lot of it shift.
How many
So,
times a day? Do you do this once a day, once a week, or once a
no,
month?
once a day is not enough. It depends on the day you're having. It depends on what you're doing. I don't think once a day is enough, but at least once a day. We
So this seems like be in tune of your body at least once a day, of who you are, what have you done all day. Because my big thing, and I think most people are, I don't know, maybe not, but is how did I utilize my day? What did I put into my day? What did I get out of my day? What did I put into it? Did I make myself happy? Am I happy? I think people want to be that, and a lot of people are not, and that's why we have so many overweight people. Would that be so? Because they're not happy with themselves.
Overweight and happiness, what I've seen in some people, I cannot comment on all. Weight is something that they have chosen to have for certain lessons. Again, it all boils down to somebody's maybe learning to love themselves enough you know, to take care of their body. Somebody's maybe, okay, need to develop sense of self-worth, self-esteem. Again, um, it's sort of like loving yourself more. But all these things for weight, I've noticed that they don't love themselves enough.
I couldn't agree with you more. I would sort of feel like, this is the only person you actually have is yourself. You don't really have anybody else. This is all.
But to me, what the experience I've had is almost everyone who is overweight has that thing, has that soul lesson to learn.
They don't
That's
really
just
have
one of.
that. And it's funny because they seem to eat more and more because they've actually totally given up. And I said, don't give up. You've got to go the reverse. You've got to start hyping yourself. And I really notice when people say, oh, no, it's not, sometimes it's their hormones. I said, well, yeah, we can make all the excuses in the world as to who we are and what we are. But why don't we just be what we want to be and how we want to be? And I think, being overweight is not one of them. I think that's kind of a sort of a cop-out sort of thing that, oh, I don't care anymore. And a lot of people overweight do that.
Um, Again, state of mind
It's
to me. And becoming aware of why they are doing this to their own bodies, the only vehicle they have to go through all the experiences in this life. Yeah, I would question that, just like I would question. I've had many mothers who brought their teenage children to me with severe acne, who were on prescription drugs to get rid of acne. Many children, whether they were 12, 16, 17, and boys and girls. And I've seen that again and again in children with acne. Oh, they had such bad acne. They were bullied in school. So again, the soul lessons that they had. Why were they making the skin erupt? And somebody could say, "Oh no, they weren't doing that. It could be the diet. It could be the no, no, no. It's them. It's their state of mind
and
that
because
creates that experience."
a lot of people say, you know, what are you nervous about or what's bothering you when you see little acne or see pimples or something, it's usually something, not what you've eaten. It's something what you're thinking or something what you're going through or you're nervous and everything. I mean, how can anybody get hold of you? How can they reach you?
They can contact me through email on my website or LinkedIn.
What is your website?
Healempowerinspire.com. That's going to change in a month or so. It'll be a new one, but that's why I said they can get through to me on LinkedIn or TFT Thought Field Therapy website.
LinkedIn. Can they get to you on LinkedIn on your actual name?
Yes, Rami Singh.
They can go on your actual name, which is, I'm going to try to, can you spell out your actual name, Rami? I think it is Rami. And your last name?
Singh.
Okay, so my audience out there, you can reach this young lady, and she can do anything. Obviously, she doesn't need too much. She doesn't. You don't have to be on her doorstep. You don't have to live in London.
Yes. You don't have to be anywhere near me. I don't have.
But they can reach you anywhere in the entire world.
Correct. I see
And that's
people.
the greatest thing. This is the greatest thing out there now with the computers and what we're doing and how everything is done now that you can actually you get help. But she doesn't even have to know you.
I
So
don't even see, when I have a Skype session, I don't do video, so I don't see them either.
because some people are very conscious or conscious of not wanting to be seen and not wanting to be identified and not wanting anything. And through you, they can do that and they can get cured and they can get help and they can sort of, they can feel like you and I, because I think you and I are very good. I'm not, I mean, I know you do, and I know me, and I'm a happy young lady. I've achieved a lot and done a lot and
Yes?
successful. And I haven't let things, but what I have done though, I always admit to myself, to my known self be true, I've always admitted to myself if something's gone wrong, I look at it, why did it go wrong? Because I didn't do it the right way. And I always admit to myself, I'm doing it the right way and it'll come out the right way. So I think that's a good example, is it?
Yes, that's what you've told yourself.
Whatever I've done is worked, and whatever you have done is worked.
Look, if we could only do what we did. And
That's the
again, it
whole
goes
point of the game. That's the whole point of whom you are, right?
And I would like to tell people, you know, we literally know scientifically this was spiritual aspect and energetic transmuting energies. But back to TFT, which you started with, thought field therapy, we know scientifically that our brain literally goes through polarities. When we are stressed, nervous, anxious, our brain does. So throughout the day, I've spoken about this, I've written about it before. We have something called psychological reversals happening throughout the day. And I have seen this so much. I used to see energy, shift in people. The energy, the more expanded it is, that means the more lighter you are, the more expansive your energy is. You're happier, you are more joyous. The more constricted and near your physical body it is, um, the more you need to work at yourself.
The tighter you are, and the less release you have.
Correct, absolutely. That's why the phrase, be open-minded. I have taught this to people that look, if somebody, this is what happened to me, even growing up, if somebody was very, very ultra orthodox views and very rigid, you could see the energy just here.
You could see
So, and that's not very open-minded, and that's why I realized that there are halos around all the pictures of saints and people because halo meant their mind had expanded,
that
open mind.
they're free.
Correct.
They, as we would say commonly, they opened up. You don't have to have a
Correct.
go out there,
Exactly.
but just
And
open.
yes, they were open-minded. They were expanded. They were open to, they knew the awareness was open. So when you are expressing any thought, any statement, any words, any emotions that is limiting to yourself or to somebody else or is judgmental or opinionated, that's it. Your energy is right here.
Yes.
Or
And
you're stressed and
everybody should realise that this is really this little thing right here. This is really all we work on. There's nothing. This actually controls everything else.
everything,
Our feet
everything.
aren't going to tell us. Yes, our brain tells our feet to move forward. Our brain tells us we're tired. Our brain tells us we are told everything through this, but we don't acknowledge it. We don't listen. We don't listen.
And I would scientifically, that was me seeing energies, but scientifically, we know the term, have given this term psychological reversal. Your brain goes in reversal. Literally, it does. Your neurons, your brain goes in reversal and you're stressed, anxious, or upset even, this from TFT, Dr. Callahan always said one thing is so important. This is the point. It's the acupressure point. But if you press this here, we call it karate chop because you do the karate chop like that. If you press it here and tap on it 15, 20 times, you actually correct the reversal. How easy is that?
As simple as that.
Correct. And you know what, Ninon, I love this because this has been demonstrated on a voltmeter. I have a voltmeter at home. A lot of my TFT colleagues have bought it after Dr. Callahan was demonstrating that you actually, with a voltmeter attached, you could test your energy. Simple voltmeter from a hardware store. You could test the voltmeter. It'll give a different reading before you tap here and after you tap here. What does that tell you? Yes, and after 20 taps, what does that tell you? So this is why I do what I do is because firstly, scientifically proven, and I've seen it. Secondly, you see the results immediately. This is what I tell people. Is it going to cure everything? Of course not. But it cures your psychological reversals in those 20 25 tap. But the reversal could be, let's say, you have a headache coming on, and there'll be some reversal somewhere in your consciousness that says you want to be ill. I guarantee it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that headache, you wouldn't have that ill feeling for anything. Or there could be a fear of, there could be social anxiety. I've worked with a lot of mental health cases where you cannot cure mental illness, but you can actually give them tools, increase social anxiety to. So what do I do if they are getting fearful? Let's say, or you tap on it that let's say I don't, um, for somebody who's starting to feel a bit ill, say, I want to be healthy. Because the consciousness is expecting to fall ill. You just tap 20 times and say, I want to be healthy. The reversal is corrected. And if they had a voltmeter right now, they could test it's working. It's shifted.
You know, on that, I hate to cut you off and I hate to say we got to go, but the hour is up and the hours, it's getting more and more interesting with you. I could talk to you for hours because I find you absolutely fascinating. I found you fascinating before, I find you even more fascinating now because I'm listening to you and I know what you're saying is the truth. I know that. And the reason I know that because I've done it, I've tried it, and I'm actually in that sort of place because I don't let things bother me because I work them out, I look at them. On that, Rami, you have been absolutely amazing, and I want to thank you for coming on Need on Live. Just wonderful. I hope to have you on again soon. And on that, to my audience, thank you
It was
all.
my honor and privilege to be here. You were wonderful.
You're wonderful. It takes two to be wonderful. There you go. On that, I want to thank my audience out there for tuning in. I hope you've learned a lot. I know you have, and whoever can do the little tap here. Only two
Tap
taps.
there, yes, throughout the day, but you'll have to find the belief that is behind it. That
Do while you're
yeah,
doing
I want to be
it.
healthy. Yes. Or you could just do this, like we teach children in school that do the karate chop and say, I want to be healthy, I will be healthy, I am this, this, this. You become that. Yes. Yeah. And
I
also, if you're doing the centering exercise that Nanon you started doing, please, people,
Oh, I'm
do
going to
it.
do it. Let me finish it. Rami, thank you
Do
so
it
much.
slowly. It's no problem. Okay, my pleasure, Nanon.
You take care. I'll see you in
Okay.
London.
I'd like that.
Thank you.
Bye.